Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm excited to introduce our presentation on real-world IT's governance, risk, and compliance. Today, we'll be focusing on FIPPA compliance, exploring what it means for your organization and how to navigate these important regulations. Over the next few slides, we'll cover key aspects of FIPPA, best practices, and practical steps to stay compliant. Let's get started. Let's take a closer look at the provincial privacy legislation. This legislation specifically applies to public bodies, meaning government agencies and organizations that serve the public. Its main purpose is to govern how personal information is collected, used, and disclosed by these entities. One of the key aspects is ensuring transparency, so the public knows how their information is being handled. At the same time, the legislation aims to protect individual privacy rights, making sure personal data isn't misused or mishandled. Now, you might be wondering, what is FIPPA? FIPPA stands for the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. It's a crucial piece of legislation that sets the rules for how public bodies manage personal information. Overall, these laws are designed to balance transparency and privacy, fostering trust between the government and the public. They form the foundation for responsible data management in the public sector, which is essential as we explore the broader themes of privacy and information security in this presentation. Let's take a closer look at the various public entities that are covered under this framework. First, we have the provincial ministries, which are the main government departments responsible for delivering services and implementing policies within each province. These ministries work directly with the public and are key players in the provincial government structure. Next, there are agencies and boards. These are specialized organizations established to carry out specific functions or oversee particular sectors, often operating with some degree of independence, but still accountable to the government. Public institutions are also included. These can be colleges, universities, or other entities that serve the public interest through education, research, or cultural preservation. Then we have municipal entities, which include city or town governments and other local authorities. It's important to note that these can vary due to different laws or regulations, which might affect how they operate or are governed. Crown organizations are another category. These are entities owned or controlled by the government, but often have a semi-autonomous status. They deliver specific services or functions, like transportation or health services. All of these entities, provincial ministries, agencies, boards, public institutions, municipal entities, and crown organizations, are considered public bodies covered under this framework. Recognizing this diverse range is crucial because it highlights the broad scope of public accountability and transparency we're aiming for. It ensures that we're not just focusing on one part of the government, but looking at the entire ecosystem that serves the public interest. Let's talk about recorded information about individuals. This includes any identifiers and opinions that can be linked back to a person. You'll find this kind of data not only about employees, but also about citizens, so it covers a wide range of contexts. The legal definition of personal information is pretty broad, which means it can include many types of data that identify or relate to someone. It's important to understand that the application of this information depends on the context. How and where it's used can influence its classification. Overall, recognizing what constitutes personal information helps us ensure proper handling and protection of individuals' data throughout our processes. Let's talk about some important collection rules to keep in mind. First, it's crucial to collect only authorized information. That means only data that we're permitted to gather, and that serves a purpose. Next, we should focus on information that is directly related to the program delivery. Collecting irrelevant data can lead to unnecessary complications. It's also essential to notify individuals about what information we're collecting and why. Transparency builds trust. Additionally, limit collection sources to those that are necessary and appropriate, avoiding unnecessary or excessive data gathering. Documenting authority is another key point. Make sure there's clear documentation showing who has the authority to collect and handle this information. Following these collection rules helps ensure we're compliant, ethical, and aligned with the overall goals of our program. When it comes to using information, it's crucial to stick to authorized purposes only. This means you should only access and utilize data in ways that you're explicitly permitted to. It's also important to restrict disclosures. Only share information with those who have the right to see it. If there are any statutory exceptions, like legal requirements or specific regulations, make sure to apply them carefully. Keeping disclosure logs is another key point. This helps track who accessed what and when, ensuring transparency and accountability. Preventing unauthorized sharing is essential to protect sensitive information from falling into the wrong hands. Overall, whether it's use or disclosure, always prioritize safeguarding the data and following established policies. This helps maintain trust and ensures we're complying with all legal and organizational standards. Let's talk about data residency and how we can manage it effectively. First, we need to consider restricting storage outside of Canada. This is crucial to ensure that sensitive data stays within our borders and complies with local regulations. Next, controlling cross-border access is essential. We want to make sure only authorized personnel can access data from outside the country, reducing potential security risks. It's also important to assess the locations of our vendors' data centers. Knowing where our data is stored helps us evaluate any legal or sovereignty concerns that might arise. Additionally, documenting any exceptions is a key part of transparency and compliance. If there are cases where data must go outside of Canada, we need to clearly record and justify those decisions. Finally, all these steps help us mitigate sovereignty risks. That is, the risks related to foreign laws and jurisdiction that could impact our data. By focusing on data residency, we're not just protecting our information, we're also aligning with our overall goal of maintaining control and security over our data assets within our national borders. When we receive access requests, it's crucial to respond promptly and accurately. Meeting statutory timelines isn't just a legal requirement, it also demonstrates our commitment to transparency and accountability. When applying exemptions, we need to do so carefully and thoughtfully, making sure we're only withholding information when it's truly justified. Documenting all decisions thoroughly is essential, as it provides a clear record of our process and helps us explain our actions if needed. Overall, transparency is at the heart of access to information requests. Being open and clear helps build trust and ensures we're upholding our responsibilities. So, always keep these points in mind to handle these requests effectively and responsibly. Let's talk about assessing privacy risks, which is a crucial step in our data management process. Whenever we're launching new initiatives, it's essential to evaluate the potential privacy implications right from the start. This helps us identify any vulnerabilities before they become bigger issues. Part of this assessment involves examining data flows, understanding how data moves through our systems and where it might be exposed or at risk. Once we have a clear picture, we can develop effective mitigation strategies to address these risks proactively. Supporting compliance is another key aspect, ensuring that our practices align with privacy laws and regulations to avoid penalties and protect our reputation. One of the most valuable tools in this process is conducting privacy impact assessments, or PIAs. These assessments help us systematically evaluate how a project or initiative might impact privacy, guiding us to implement safeguards early on. Ultimately, by thoroughly assessing privacy risks, we're not only protecting individuals' data, but also reinforcing trust and integrity across our organization. This step is fundamental in maintaining a responsible and compliant approach to handling data. Let's talk about some essential security safeguards that help protect personal information. First, it's crucial to apply administrative controls. These are policies and procedures designed to manage how information is handled and who has access to it. Think of them as the rules of the road for data security. Next, we need to use technical safeguards. which involve technology solutions like encryption and firewalls to block unauthorized access and keep data safe from cyber threats. Securing physical records is also vital. This means ensuring that paper files and physical storage areas are protected, for example, with locked cabinets or restricted access rooms. Prevention of unauthorized access is a core goal across all these measures. Whether it's through administrative policies, technical tools, or physical security, we want to make sure only authorized individuals can access sensitive information. All these steps, administrative controls, technical safeguards, physical security, combine to form a comprehensive approach to security safeguards. They work together to protect personal information, which is a central theme in our overall effort to ensure data privacy and security. Let's talk about how to effectively manage a breach once it occurs. The first step is to identify and contain the breach as quickly as possible. This means recognizing the signs early and taking immediate actions to limit the damage. Once you've contained it, the next crucial step is to assess the impact. Understand what information was affected, how many individuals are impacted, and the severity of the breach. After assessing, it's important to notify those affected by the breach promptly. Transparency here helps maintain trust and allows individuals to take any necessary precautions. Simultaneously, you need to report the incident to the relevant oversight bodies. This ensures compliance with legal and regulatory requirements and helps prevent further issues. Finally, after managing the immediate situation, focus on implementing corrective actions. This could involve strengthening security measures, updating policies, or providing additional staff training. Remember, effective breach management isn't just about handling the incident. It's about learning from it and improving your defenses to prevent future breaches. This process ties back to our overall theme of maintaining trust and integrity in our data handling practices. When it comes to vendor management, there are several key points we need to focus on to ensure everything runs smoothly and securely. First, we have to make sure that vendors meet FIPPA requirements, which means they must comply with privacy laws and protect sensitive information. It's essential to include specific privacy clauses in our contracts so that expectations around data protection are clear from the start. Next, monitoring compliance is an ongoing process. We need to regularly check that vendors are adhering to these privacy obligations and any other contractual terms. This helps us catch issues early and maintain trust. Assessing subcontractors is also crucial because sometimes vendors work with third parties. We need to ensure that these subcontractors are also meeting our privacy and security standards, not just the primary vendors. Finally, managing shared responsibility is about understanding that protecting information is a collective effort. We and our vendors share the duty to safeguard data, so clear communication and accountability are vital. All of these points tie back to the overall theme of effective vendor management. It's about building strong, compliant relationships that prioritize privacy and security at every step. Let's start by defining what retention schedules are. Essentially, they are the policies that determine how long we keep different types of records before they are disposed of. Having clear retention schedules helps us manage records efficiently and in compliance with legal requirements. Next, secure disposal practices are crucial. When records reach the end of their retention period, we need to dispose of them securely to protect sensitive information and prevent data breaches. This might include shredding paper records or securely deleting electronic files. Maintaining records integrity is also vital. This means ensuring that records are accurate, complete, and reliable throughout their life cycle. Good records integrity supports trust and compliance in our record-keeping processes. Supporting audits is another key point. Proper records management makes audits smoother by providing clear, organized, and accessible records. This not only demonstrates compliance, but also helps us identify areas for improvement. Finally, reducing unnecessary retention is essential. Holding onto records longer than needed can increase risks and costs. By regularly reviewing and deleting records that are no longer relevant, we streamline our processes and reduce clutter. All these elements, defining retention schedules, secure disposal, maintaining integrity, supporting audits, and eliminating unnecessary records, are interconnected pieces of effective records management. They help us stay compliant, protect sensitive information, and operate more efficiently. Now, let's take a closer look at the role of the Information and Privacy Commissioner. This is the body responsible for overseeing compliance with privacy laws and ensuring that organizations handle information responsibly. They have the authority to conduct investigations into privacy breaches or violations, and based on their findings, they can issue orders to correct or address issues. An essential part of their work is compliance monitoring, where they keep an eye on how organizations follow the rules over time. This helps ensure ongoing accountability and that privacy protections are upheld consistently. Public accountability is also a core principle here. The Commissioner acts as a transparent overseer, making sure that organizations are held responsible for their privacy practices, which ultimately helps build public trust. Legal obligations play a significant role as well. Organizations are required by law to cooperate with investigations and adhere to the orders issued. This legal framework supports the overall goal of protecting individual privacy rights. Finally, oversight and enforcement are critical to making all of this work. The Commissioner's authority ensures that privacy laws are not just words on paper, but are actively enforced, creating a safer environment for everyone's personal information. This comprehensive approach ties into the overall theme of promoting responsible data management and protecting individual rights in our digital age. Now, let's take a closer look at some of the common risks that can threaten our data security. First, uncontrolled data sharing is a major concern. When data is shared without proper controls, it can easily fall into the wrong hands, exposing sensitive information. Next, inadequate vendor controls can create vulnerabilities, especially if our third-party partners don't follow strict security protocols. Poor access management is another critical issue. If access isn't properly managed, employees or external parties might gain unauthorized entry to our systems. Insufficient training also plays a role. When staff aren't properly educated about security best practices, mistakes happen more often, increasing the risk of breaches. Lastly, weak breach response plans mean that if a security incident occurs, we might not respond quickly or effectively, which can make the damage much worse. Overall, these risks highlight the importance of having robust controls and proactive strategies in place to protect our data and maintain trust. Let's talk about embedding privacy by design into our processes. This means integrating privacy considerations right from the start, so it's not an afterthought. Next, training staff regularly is crucial. Well-trained employees are our first line of defense in maintaining privacy and security. Maintaining documentation is also key. It helps us keep track of our privacy measures and ensures compliance. Conducting periodic reviews allows us to identify any gaps or vulnerabilities that may have emerged over time, so we can address them proactively. Finally, integrating privacy practices with our overall security programs ensures a cohesive approach, strengthening our overall defenses. These best practices together create a robust framework for protecting privacy throughout our organization.